but I don't think that Musk is going to be sending people to Mars by 2029, which is what he is saying now. But I do think that these technologies and the monopolization of these technologies by a very few individuals who appear to be trying to destroy the United States is not a good thing, and that they're going to do a lot of damage before they're stopped or before their mission falls apart. So that's kind of my stand on that. So if Trump is not in control, and those people are, and there may be other people as well, I'm just watching from outside. A lot of you have asked, why can't he be impeached now? And the answer to that is a historic one, of course. And that's that when the framers wrote the Constitution, they did not expect the rise of political parties. If you read Federalist Number 10, which I'm sure all of you had to do in high school, and you're thinking, what is this crap? Because honestly, it's really hard to read. If you're sitting here thinking that like there's some magic switch and suddenly historians can do that stuff easily, that's actually not the case. It's very difficult to read. But what Federalist Number 10 talks about is it talks about how he's very concerned about the rise of what he calls factions, and he meant parties. They didn't really have words for parties then. And what he argued was that Madison argued in Federalist Number 10 was that we didn't really have to worry too much about the rise of political parties in the United States because the country was so big, and that people would not divide into groups of two, as had seemed to have plagued British politics before the creation of the United States of America, but they would kind of splinter. They would all sort of, a whole bunch of people would agree on one thing for one issue, but then they'd split up and agree in different ways for something else, and that you would never really get the overriding power of a political party. And in fact, that's not what happened. We got the rise of political parties by, the 1790s, really, and by 1800, they're starting to skew the system. That's when we get the winner-take-all idea of the Electoral College is in 1800, and then, of course, it's going to spread through the 1830s. But what this means is when they set up safeguards around the rise of what they would have called the demagogue in their time, they didn't think that members of Congress would put party above country. And that's what we've got going on right now with the Republican Party, or what is now actually the MAGA Party. In the past, the way the system was supposed to work was that Congress people would take a look at a president who was running amok, and regardless of party would say, we are going to protect our Constitution, which is, of course, what they say an oath to when they get sworn into office. And this is something that Angus King of Maine, the senator from Maine, keeps hammering on. As you swore an oath, uphold your oath. But they instead, what we are seeing is a MAGA party that is refusing to turn against Trump, not, I think, because they like him or like what he's doing, although some of them do. They are eager to continue to court his base. And I'm going to speak about that in a little bit more in a second. But the reason it's not worth trying to impeach him now, although certainly somebody has brought it up, is because right now the Republicans control the House of Representatives. They are not going to impeach him currently. Now, their margin is very, very small. And the thing is, in the House of Representatives, an impeachment vote will not, he will be impeached. That's what that means. And an impeachment is not breaking the law. It doesn't have to be. It simply says you committed high crimes and misdemeanors. And my great example of this is you could sit in the White House and just watch Bugs Bunny all day, and you could still be impeached because you're not actually doing your job. It's not against the law to watch Bugs Bunny. It's actually quite a good idea, but it's not doing your job. So you could be impeached for that, but then it goes to the Senate, and the Senate has to decide whether or not to convict the president under the charges of impeachment. And again, it's a Republican Senate, and they need more than a majority. They need, I think it's 60 votes to convict on articles of impeachment. And right now, those numbers simply are not there, which is why I put that where I did. Because again, I'm trying to keep these short now. This is why people's voices are so important, because what you are seeing right now in the polls and around the country is the collapse of Donald Trump's popularity, the extraordinary dislike of Elon Musk in the Department of Government Efficiency. And if you're watching closely, what that's translating to is a number of Republican Congress people, both in the House and in the Senate, saying they will not go along with the things that the Trump administration is trying to do. And that pressure, I mean, so we're only 3 months into this administration. Continuing that pressure and to articulate what you actually care about, what you want to see done, is going to be increasingly important, because one of the things that I keep trying to emphasize is that politics is a moving target. So